I do think that the best way to wind down the conversation is to talk about solutions or a solution, something that does make sense, because this is, I would say, probably the most complicated political issue we do have, because there is no clear-cut issue.
Solution.
Or solution that would be reasonable, because this is something that not only are a lot of people juxtaposed to, a lot of people are willing to die for this issue. And that's a very serious, it's a very tough nut to crack. But like you suggested, George, and I think it's absolutely true, there are a lot of cracks in the armor, and it's not working like it used to. A lot of things in this country are not working like it used to. I think a lot of people are recognizing that, Trump, while a major problem, was not the problem. He was merely a symptom of a systemic problem that we have in our politics.
Yeah.
And I think just as much as people recognize that there are many issues that exist in Israel, there must be a reckoning for what they have done to the Palestinian people. And how we rectify that is the question of the day. How do we solve this major crisis? Because again, there is no silver bullet. There are certain issues that are in this country that I think have silver bullets. Universal health care, ending qualified immunity.
Right. There's things
there are things we could do that would really, reparations in communities of color. There are things that you can do that would systemically change things. But I do think the Israel-Palestine issue is one that doesn't have a clear-cut answer. What do you guys suggest would be the most sensible way to try to
How's the transition? Bridge? Well, yeah, where's the transition? What does that look like?
Oh, Donna, do you want to go?
No, it's okay. I'll wait.
Okay. All right. So actually, I think the situation is far simpler than is often portrayed. What's going on? I mean, I could summarize in one sentence what's going on, and that is that Israel is waging a colonial war against the Palestinian people and displacing them in favor of Jewish settlers. That's what started in the late 19th century, and that's when Zionist colonies were first established in Palestine. That's what's been going on ever since. We've had several major convulsions in the wars of 48 and 67, in which huge numbers of Palestinians were displaced, but they have always been displaced before, after, and up to the present time. That's why Palestinians, and Donna correctly cited this, that we refer to it as the ongoing or continuing Nakba. That means catastrophe in Arabic. The Nakba, in the sense of the forced displacement of the Palestinians, has never stopped. The solution to it is actually quite simple. Stop the Nakba, end the Nakba, and reverse its consequences to the greatest extent possible. And I mean, my personal opinion, I've already expressed it, is that the best framework in which to do this is within a single state. We actually have functioned with a single state since 1967, in which only Israel enjoys true sovereignty and only Jews enjoy the privileges of real citizenship. Everybody else there is second-class citizen or worse, and it's, equal rights and democracy, one person, one vote within a single state. Will that mean the end of a Jewish state in Israel? Yes, actually, it will. You can't have a state for one people in another people's country. You simply cannot have that. Both peoples, I would add, however, are going to be sacrificing what they might prefer, which is to have exclusive sovereignty. So that loss is reciprocal or symmetrical. But, when you live in the same spot, you just have to share it. I do believe that the people who live there today, both Jews, Christians, and Muslims, are capable of living peacefully together, prosperously, and truly could become a model, a catalyst for democratic and progressive change throughout that entire blighted region. If we let it, and if we put our hearts and minds behind it. I do think, like I said earlier, the two-state solution has failed in part because nobody really is happy with it. a solution in which everybody has equal rights, in which there is true democracy, is an inspiring vision that can bring out heroism and courage and change in people like nothing we've seen in the past.
I agree. I think that's great. I mean, it's been a very long road for me to get to where I can say, okay, I'm okay with the idea of there not being a Jewish state. Like, that's a hard thing. And I'm probably going to get a lot of crap for this. This is definitely going to be the hot take. But yeah, I cannot support an ethno state. It doesn't work. And it's unfortunate, but I do think there is a way to do it. And I do think there's a way to transition, keeping people safe. And certainly if any country has the wherewithal of security and technology, it's Israel. So if anybody is capable of reinforcing safety, because that's a big fear. People here actually have this idea that if you were just to open up the gates of Gaza, that they're all going to come running in and killing all the Jews. Like, that's it. And then at least they're going to have citizenship that we're going to have to share our rights with them. Like, they can't even fathom this.
Of course, if anybody has the right to be fearful, it's the fact that, the Israeli government has been indiscriminately killing Palestinians. So I think we have to, we have to make sure when we're talking about safety, a state that has equal rights for all, nothing could be safer than to have all people living in dignity with equal rights. So I think that if we're talking about, safety and security, we really want to remember, one, who's been endangered, and two, how the model that's being called for is a model that's not exclusive. It's an inclusive model, in fact. So yeah, I think that's something really important. I think we have to think a lot about reframing when some of these things come up, to really say, well, let's take a minute and see, what are we really talking about, and who's been unsafe, and who's been. So yeah, I think that I just wanted to add it, as if it's okay before we end, since we are in Florida. Jen, you're still in Florida, right?
I'm in Dayton. Yeah, I'm in Dayton.
Yeah. Because I just wanted to say that, just in terms of action, that the home of Duty Free Americas is in South Florida, and the owners of Duty Free Americas, the Falak family, are major contributors to settlement building in Israel and to the violent displacement of Palestinians from their home and land. And AP has come out with really showing kind of how much of their money is going to settler groups and to funding violence. So all of our social justice groups who committed to justice in Palestine have come together, and we are beginning to launch a major campaign.
Or wait. Are you talking about the duty-free
Americas that are in our airports?
No. Oh, okay. You're not talking. Okay, but the headquarters is the building is on Hollywood Boulevard.
Right. And we actually did an action there 2 weeks ago, telling them to stop funding apartheid, stop funding ethnic cleansing, and we will be continuing to organize, because they are in airports across the country, and they are very big funders of.
Wait, I also want one more thing. Just in all fairness, my husband's a urologist, and his Hollywood office is in that Duty Free Americas building on the first floor. And I just want to put the disclaimer that my husband's urology practice is not a supporter of settlements or any sort of construction in the West Bank, but they do in fact work in that Duty Free America building. But no, they're just renters. They
explained to us they own the whole building, and then they rent it out to medical offices.
And I assure you, my husband is probably no clue about any of this. But my point is, let's not hate on everybody in the building. That was my point.
Kind of like finding out that the Koch brothers own Bounty.
It's like
you just don't.
I just want to say, it's not the whole building is in Duty Free America.
Yes, it's
be kind to your friendly neighborhood urologist.
Well, I think it speaks to that issue of the oligarchic construction of our society today, and how it's very difficult, and how religion is used as a weapon more than an asset. And that is why we have to continue having these conversations. It is essential, because not talking about it is how this has festered for far too long. Now that this has become a mainstream talking point, we are more or less forced to talk about it. And when you're forced to talk about it, you kind of don't have a choice but to try to find a solution, because it's not going to go away. And that's what we're doing. Donna, George,
thank you
so much for coming on this evening.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.